Hello, welcome to the second day of Chapter 5. Today we're going to learn about different sampling types. The first one is probably our most important. It's a simple random sample. We'll abbreviate that with SRS. So it says a simple random sample of size n consisting of n individuals from a population chosen in such a way that every set of n individuals has an equal chance to be the sample actually selected. So any set of n individuals would have an equal chance of being selected. This is how we want to sample for most of the rest of the year, because a lot of the math that we learn in AP statistics has a condition that it does come from a simple random sample. Now, sometimes, or when we do a simple random sample, we need to randomly pick our sample from a larger data set. To do that, one way to do that is to use random digits. A table of random digits is a long string of digits from 0 to 9 with two properties. Each entry in the table is equally likely to be any of the 10 digits, 0 through 9, and the 10 entries are independent of each other. That means knowledge of one part of the table gives no information about the other part. Now, if you look in the back of your book, you'll find a chart called Table B. It looks exactly like this. I just scanned this from one of our textbooks. Now we'll use this to randomly select things. So if I have all of the U.S. states or territories and I want to pick 10 of them at random, what I do is I just pick some line, and then I choose the states from that. So each of these is 2 digits. So I'll have to do 2 digits at a time, and I will just pick 109. I could have picked anyone, but you just move your finger along, stop, and I just happen to pick 109. So 36 is my first one, so I'll go to 36, and that's North Dakota. So that's my first state selected. 0, 0. Now I didn't start with 0, I started with 1. So 0, 0 isn't anything, so we just move on to the next one. 91. 91, there is no 91. 55 is the last one, so we keep going. 93, too high. 65, too high. 15. 15 should be a good one. 15 is Illinois. Then 41, that should work out. Pennsylvania. And we went 10 random states, so far we have 3. 23. Where's 23 at? Massachusetts. 96, no. 38. Ohio. 85, no. 45. South Dakota. So 45, so then it would be 34. New York, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 68, no. 16. Indiana. 83, no. 48. Utah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So one more after that. 54. Let's go Wisconsin. So my 10 randomly selected states are Illinois, Indiana, Massachusetts, New York, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Utah, and Wisconsin. Now we can pick random numbers on our calculator to do that previous problem. So how we can do it on the calculator is we hit math once our calculator warms up a bit. I'll try it again, math. Go to the right to the top menu that says probability and choose number 5, which is random integer. So my smallest number is 1, my largest number is 55, and we want 10 numbers. Now this list here gives me 10 numbers. If by chance you see one repeats twice, if it repeats, you just hit it again, and then you pick the new set of numbers. So 39 comes again, so we can't use that one. So you pick the first 10 unique numbers, and those are the states that correspond with that. So when we're choosing in our SRS, the first thing we need to do is label each item in our data set. So like each state had a number. The next thing we can do is use the table, or I should say, or calc. Now we need a stopping rule. Our previous stopping rule was stop once we get 10. So once you hit your stop, then you stop looking for random numbers. And then your last thing you want to do is identify your sample. So say which states were the ones we picked. So if you want to make a sample that would represent the AP students at Irondale High School, explain how you would do this. So pause the video, talk amongst your group. All right, what you would need to do is first thing you do is number each AP student. The second thing we do is go to the table. So use table or calc to randomly pick however many students. And however many students is that's going to be your stopping rule. So let's stop at, let's say, 30 students. And then once you stop at those 30 students, then you want to list the names of the students. So that would be an SRS of all of the AP students at Irondale High School. Now, what this is it's a probability sample. It's a sample chosen by chance. We must know that the samples are possible and what chance or probability each possible sample has. An SRS is a probability sample with equal probabilities. So any of those AP students could have been chosen because we're randomly choosing them. Not all probabilities have equal not all probability samples have equal probabilities. Sometimes a certain part, there might be an 80% chance of picking a senior and only a 20% chance of picking an underclassman. So not all probability samples are equal like an SRS. Now there's a different type of random sampling called stratified random sampling. To select a stratified random sample, first divide the population into groups of individuals called strata that are similar in some way that is important to the response. Then choose a separate SRS from each stratum and combine these SRSs to form a full sample. One way we can do this is we can separate people into what grade they're in. You could have seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. And then we can do an SRS from each of those. So we can do an SRS of 10, an SRS of 10, SRS of 10, and an SRS of 10. And then we have 40 different people in our sample, and we're sure that each of the 4 grade levels have been represented. Now, we could possibly take an SRS of the entire school, and a majority of the people that were picked could be seniors and juniors and sophomores, and then we wouldn't know how the freshmen feel about it. So a stratified random sample is a good way if we want each section of the school to have their say in whatever survey we're giving out. So if we wanted to make a sample of all the AP students at Irondale High School, how could we do this? I think the best way is what I was just describing here. Divide it up into seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen of AP classes. I don't know. Do freshmen take? I don't think freshmen take AP classes, so we might have to leave them out. Seniors, juniors, and sophomores, and from those students, then form them together to find to look at the data. All right. Say you want to sample 5 owners from NFL teams. Here's a list of all the NFL teams. Pick an SRS. This is actually this is an SRS, so I should have done this earlier. So let's skip it for now, and let's talk about cluster sampling. A cluster sampling divides the population into groups or clusters. Some of these clusters are randomly selected. Then all the individuals are in the chosen clusters are selected to be in that sample. So what we do is there's different groups, and in those different groups, we you just pick everybody in that group and give them the sample. One way you can do this is in the lunchroom. You can just go to all the different tables and randomly select a table. Say if we have 8 tables, you could randomly select that table and this table, and then interview everybody at those tables, and that would be a cluster sampling. Now, if we wanted to do that with AP students, what we could do is maybe list out all of the teachers' names. So we could have Shield, Miss Young, Miss Rainey, Miss Corey. I don't know if Corey teaches AP. Whatever. You can list out all the teachers' names and then do a random sample of all of those teachers' names. So we'd have to number all of those, either use your calculator or the table, and then just pick a couple of them, and then give the survey out to all of the students in that class. All right, the last one, which isn't on your note sheet, is a multi-stage sample. Now, this is just combining many different stages of the previous ones. It selects smaller groups and stages, resulting in a sample consisting of clusters of individuals. Each stage may employ an SRS or a stratified or any type of other sample. So this is how the current population survey goes in the United States, not survey. I should get rid of that. All right. So what they do is first they divide the U.S. into 207 geographical areas called primary sample units. And they select a sample of 756 PSUs, and they make sure that 428 of them are from large population areas, and 328 are from other or smaller population areas. Then they divide each of those PSUs into smaller areas called neighborhoods, and then they stratify each neighborhood using ethnic information. Then they sort each housing unit in the neighborhoods into clusters of 4 nearby units, and then they interview the households in random samples of these clusters. So when you do a large-scale population survey like this, there's many different stages where they use clustering, some stratifying, some random sample, so they can combine all of the different types together. All right, so the 5 main types of sampling methods. Yesterday we learned about voluntary response and convenience. Those are not very good styles of getting samples. SRS is what we're going to be using most in this class, but stratified and cluster are a lot better than the voluntary and convenience. Voluntary and convenience have obvious biases, when stratified and cluster do not. All right, your homework for today is 9 through 14. Good luck.